It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and TanMan.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is the Border War, episode 91. I am the TanMan. I'm here with BG. I feel like we're going to rename this episode The Plight of BG. We're going to name it The Plight of BG because we have got Cowboys and Rams this weekend. The Cowboys win it. We've got Jake Bentley returning. Good, bad, But we're going to start right where everyone else seems to be starting today, BG. Has the sky fallen down yet? Has it crumbled on top of you? The Clemson Tigers are national champions once again.
No, the sky has not fallen. I've actually arrived at. I have a double brain right now. I have my fan side of me, right?
I have four brains.
I question.
I've got
that
the biggest
may be,
brain.
That may.
I've got the biggest brain.
Okay, you know all the brains.
I know all.
That may be four too high, but no. I have my fan side of me that obviously was pulling hard against Clemson. Don't like to see them win anything. But then I do have my rational side that really, you have to sit back and sort of appreciate what Dabo Swinney has done in the upstate of South Carolina because that was a machine that you saw roll into Santa Clara last night. And I think also it revealed for the first time in a decade that there may be some real problems in Alabama. And I suspect they get ironed out, but I think there were a lot of really bad play calls in that game, aside from the obvious one of that ridiculous fake field goal. But some of the play calling by Alabama, not great. The play calling, however, by Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott, I thought was just pristine. They just rolled up yardage.
Hey, look, Trevor Lawrence, he's the man of the hour. 20 for 32, 347, 3 touchdowns. At no point during that ball game last night, and in the interest of being completely transparent, I did not really watch much of the second half. The fake field goal was enough for me to roll over and go to sleep, but going back and watching some today and preparing for the show, you can probably count on one hand how many times Trevor Lawrence felt any kind of pressure from that Alabama defense.
And I really think,
shocking.
Defensively speaking for Alabama, that was the story of the game. I think offensively speaking for Alabama, yes, Clemson's defense did cause them a lot of problems, but Alabama was able to run the ball at will. They just sort of kept deciding not to do it, especially early in the game. But you're right. When Lawrence had the football in his hand, man, he looked like Tom Brady. He was standing flat-footed sometimes.
Yeah.
Some of those pass routes he completed were 7 and 8 seconds down the field. He had all day.
Hey, listen, you've always made the point about Kirk Cousins. Your famous thing with Cousins was that between the 20s, he's amazing.
Right.
And when you get down into the red zone where it's time to make something happen,
he makes bad decisions.
Decisions. You watch Alabama in the first half, and between the 20s, man, they were chewing Clemson up.
Sure.
And there at one point, I felt like it got to the point where Alabama realized, look, all year long we've outscored everybody.
Yes.
And they realized somewhere late in that first quarter, like, I'm not really sure we're going to be able to outscore these guys. And then they would go to where they went to a period where they were rotating these backs in, where there was a Najee Harris or Damian Harris or Josh Jacobs, where each one of these guys was coming in. And I think at one point in the second quarter, they even made it a point where they were talking about how they were rotating running backs in. But then they get down to the red zone, and they try to get fancy. They try to shovel pass.
That false start was a big one. It ends up costing them 4 points, probably.
I think for the first time that I can remember, Nick Saban and that Alabama coaching staff,
they got outcoached.
They looked a little rattled. They went for the fourth down. They got it, but I felt at one point. But I felt like that was kind of a panic move in the first half from like their own 34-yard line or whatever it was.
No, I think it was admitting that they were
shocking.
And Saban to me looked confused as to why some of the play calls. He looked exasperated. I don't know if it was the execution or whatnot, but he was sort of looking down the line as if he was sort of looking for his coordinators, trying to figure out exactly what was going on. But I found his comments at halftime really telling too. I mean that Clemson was, I think he used the word copycatting some things that other teams had done against them. That this is what I love, that they hadn't practiced against or they hadn't prepared for. And I thought,
if other teams have done it,
what do you mean you haven't prepared for it?
Well, the other thing I found interesting right before that, Tua had just thrown his second interception, which I don't know who he was throwing the ball to. It was triple coverage.
He just threw the ball up into the air, and the guy did not make much of an effort to go after it.
Clemson, I think Clemson scored right after that, and Alabama gets the ball back. 45, 49 seconds left to go before halftime.
They're down
3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You're down, 16, whatever it was. I don't even remember.
They were down 15 or 16. It just obviously runs the clock out.
They just run the 45 seconds off. They make no effort to try and make anything happen. I thought right there, to me, that's a red flag. Saban realizes, man, this is not right. And I'm not sure the ship can be righted.
Yeah, sort of that Rocky 3 feeling where we need to get him back into the corner and clean this blood up because, and I think, we all, football public, thinks that Nick Saban's going to make some kind of adjustments at halftime. Like you said, man,
I don't think there was an adjustment to be made, to be honest.
No pressure at all on Trevor Lawrence. No. Not a bit.
The one thing that's clear is we went into the season, and all year long we heard it, Alabama's the king. It's Alabama and everybody else down here. And I think you and I were guilty of that some.
Sure. But we saw them annihilating people, covering 25-point spreads. And let's be honest, Clemson didn't look great against Syracuse. They didn't look great against South Carolina. But, like I said on the show last week, when I called in, Sweeney gets these guys ready for the games that matter. And, it's kind of hard to say it as a Gamecock fan, but, man, I don't know that game matters much to Clemson right now. They want to win it.
Everything Clemson does right now is for games like last night. No disrespect to South Carolina, but that's another bump in the road for them.
Sure. And one thing I do think that Dabo is getting a little bit too much credit for is this quote-unquote genius move to pull Kelly Bryant when he did. A, we know why he did it. And B, he already saw Kelly Bryant versus Alabama. He knew what that looked like. So here's my thing. People said, well, that could have blown up in his face. And they're right. Trevor Lawrence could have showed up last night and completely choked in those bright lights. It could have happened. But if it had happened, then all Dabo says is, look.
The kid's a freshman.
He's a true freshman. We'll be back. And so you lose nothing.
You take your shot at Alabama now, or you take your shot at Alabama with it next year.
One of the two. Pressure was on Alabama last night. There was no pressure on Clemson. Nobody. Outside of Clemson fans, certainly no one expected what happened to happen. I think there were people who thought Clemson could win it. I picked Clemson to win it. About an hour before kickoff, I finally made up my mind, I'm going to pick Clemson to win this game. I just had a feeling. But if you had told me the score,
I just said no way.
There was no way that Clemson was going to do that to Alabama. But looking back on it, I really wonder what we were basing that decision on.
I think what we were basing it on is what we've seen all year. We have seen Clemson's defense be suspect at times.
Sure.
We've seen that secondary get torched. We saw Jake Bentley look like a Heisman Trophy winner a month ago.
Yeah.
And this Clemson defense, this Clemson secondary that showed up last night was not the same one that has shown up week after week throughout the season.
And I think that's where you get into their schedule. And I just think the reason they weren't showing up is because they didn't need to show up. You can talk about Jake Bentley all you want. Yeah, he threw for 500 yards and however many touchdowns, but we lost the game by 21 points. Clemson's secondary didn't cost them anything in that game other than some embarrassment. That's it.
Look, to me, in 2016, kind of felt like Alabama dodged the bullet a little.
Oh, no question.
They're a prize fighter. They got out of there, licked their wounds. The next year, it kind of felt like Clemson maybe stole one from them, in my opinion.
Right. And so they ended up breaking even.
Last year, Alabama pummels them into the ground. It wasn't close. This year feels different, man.
Oh, no question.
This year feels like Clemson has taken their spot right. It's no longer Alabama and Clemson.
No, right.
It's Alabama and Clemson.
Well,
they are one. They are every bit equal.
One step further
of
than
Alabama.
that. I said last week on the show that this game was going to change the narrative one way or the other, right? Either we were going to say, all right, you've played 4 times and Alabama's won 3 of them. You won when you had Deshaun Watson. You're not going to win without Deshaun Watson. That's sort of where I've come from. Mm-hmm. Or we were going to sit here after what I thought would be a close Clemson win, right, and say, okay, they're equal. They're 2-2. They've both got 2 rings in the current playoff system, or 2 trophies, whatever you want to say. That isn't even the narrative anymore. The narrative to me now is you've got Clemson at 1A and you've got Alabama at 1B. This Clemson program is ahead of Alabama. They have a coach that's going to be there for 10 more years. They don't have a 67-year-old coach. They have a coaching staff that has remained intact. They haven't had ridiculous turnover. I just tweeted out a few minutes ago, when you lose as many coaches as Nick Saban has lost in the past 8 years, you're going to miss on somebody. And he has missed on a couple of people.
I'm glad you brought that up because we were talking about this earlier off the air with some other folks today. You look at when Nick Saban loses coaches, he's gone out and he's replaced them. He's kind of turned Alabama into this coaching rehab facility, right? Lane Kiffin and then Steve Sarkisian, and now it's Mike Locksley. And everyone said this isn't the greatest Alabama team he's ever had. It's the greatest offense he's ever had. But this coaching staff might be one of the weaker ones that he's had.
Yeah. No, I think you saw that on full display last night.
Over in Clemson, no one's really come, you see it every year in the NFL when you win a Super Bowl, other teams start poaching coaches off that Super Bowl team. No one's really come and started poaching the coaches off Clemson's staff. Now, you hear Tony Elliott's name got brought up some. You're hearing Venable's name gets brought up some for some of these jobs, but nobody's taken the first bite yet. Nobody's gotten the first guy yet. I'm interested to see when that does happen, who Swinney replaces these guys with, because I'm of the mind that I think he's going to replace them more along the lines of former players, not other coaches with head coaching experience, kind of like Saban has. I think he's going to keep it in the house, and he's going to get these former players in.
But that's what he did. That's what he did.
And see how that translates a few years down the road. I've got the non-conference.
Just judging by what he did when Morris left, though, I literally thought their offense was going to fall off the rails. I thought he hired Tony Elliott.
Well, he didn't hire he promoted
Brad Scott's son.
But that's it. He didn't hire these. He promoted these guys.
But I'm saying hired because it's a new job. But you're right. He promoted it. But again, from the outside looking in, you would have thought, what in the world are you doing? They've been better than when Morris was there. Those guys call a better game than Chad Morris called. I mean, everybody said that.
Which is why somebody's going to come before too much longer and start taking these guys off his staff.
I think that may be true on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think Brent Venables is going anywhere. I think Brent Venables seems, at least for the time being, to be happy where he is. His kid's in school there, on the team. Again,
what's he making? $2 million a year?
I think. Well, he got signed to an $11.3 million contract over 5 years. So, do the math.
I don't know all the math.
It's not. It's a little less than 2, like 1.9.
So somebody.
I think I'm right.
Somebody go slide a piece of paper across the table at Brent Venables with the number 5 on it, and he's leaving Clemson.
Yeah,
that's gonna. Yeah, he's not gonna stay there.
Well,
I get.
Well, here's the thing. Then, why hasn't that happened?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
I mean, I just
somebody will. At some point, somebody will.
I mean, it just seems to me that.
But I'm going to make him say no to $5 million.
Clemson,
if nothing else, just to break this up.
Clemson is just immune to things that happen to virtually every other program in their situation, no matter what that is. No, I mean, I don't mean just this, and I mean, Clemson fans will tell you it's special over there. I mean, okay. I mean, right. Every team says that about their school. I actually don't. I think specialness is actually what South Carolina is missing. We'll get into that maybe this summer. I kind of have some things about the University of South Carolina culturally speaking I'd love to go off on. But Clemson, they seem to be immune to all of this. Starting a a 19-year-old true freshman quarterback in this game. You don't do that. They're immune to that.
Athletics in general, I think, is gone. Things have shifted. Nick Saban in Alabama, they run this tight ship, this very businesslike. This is the way we do it. Blah blah blah.
It's Bill Belichick. That's where he learned.
Exactly. And then you look over here on the other sideline, Dabo Swinney, and the guys are dancing and they're playing and it's fun and it's very loose.
But that's what the Clemson players are yelling into the camera last night.
Right. And I think this player-friendly way of coaching in general, I think, is going to be more prevalent. I think that's what the kids nowadays want. I think that's Swinney, give him credit. He recognized it early, and that's the way he built the program. And I think you're right. I think it may be a little prisoner of the moment to say they've overtaken Alabama because Alabama's still got a lot of young kids on that football team. Their quarterback
I'm just looking at their coaching
sophomore.
Issues. They were not that team was not prepared for that game last night.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Locksley, he's already gone. I mean, he's not coming back. He's going to Maryland. I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few more coaching changes on that staff after last night either. But looking ahead at Clemson, BG, I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
The next time they can lose a game is in this same game
well,
next year. That's it.
If they lose, if they lose within the next few years, it'll be in this game. But non-conference wise, regular season wise, in my opinion, I think you're looking at three more down the barrel of three more undefeated regular seasons.
Oh, probably so.
They got Texas A&M, but Texas A&M's coming to Death Valley next year.
Well, you say at least two more because Lawrence will be gone after two more seasons. You can miss at quarterback. I mean, I say that with tongue in cheek because they never do. But you can miss at quarterback, and that costs you when you miss at quarterback. Right. But I mean, let's be fair. They're not going to get somebody worse than Kelly Bryant, right?
No. And
Kelly Bryant didn't play great football. He was a limited quarterback. I think we all see that now. And they made it to the game with him. So,
I think the other way that you could see this Clemson thing, and Swinney's trying to say it's not a dynasty. Come on, man! Stop playing the underdog card. Stop playing
We don't even belong here.
You were number 2 all year long, man. Stop it.
God.
But another interesting. We talked about changes in the assistant coaching staff, guys getting plucked. What about the AD? That's the other thing that always runs kind of coaches off.
They can have ours.
I always go back to Roy Williams when he said no to North Carolina the first time. It's because it was a good situation. He liked the AD. They got along. The second time North Carolina came calling, they had a change in the AD, different priorities. Maybe they don't. Jihad Radakovich has already had, I don't want to say scandals, but he's gone and butted heads with the students over ticket prices twice during his tenure. He's been there longer than he's ever been anywhere else. The average AD stay in Division I college is less than 7 years. I think this is 8 for Radakovich. Maybe another AD
comes in. Has it been 8 years?
I think it's been about 8 years.
Wow.
So maybe there's a change in administration. Maybe things don't line up. Puts a premature end to that. But barring all that,
sounds like a lot of wishful thinking, TanMan.
Well, I'm not wishful. I'm just throwing out possible scenarios, because I don't think Swinney's leaving. I
think it's absurd now.
I've always said when Alabama comes.
For what? Let's just throw this out there. NFL is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Well,
everything he loves about what he does would be gone in the NFL. Every bit of it. Right?
Well, all right.
You say he would be good at it. That's a different argument.
But
he wouldn't get anything out of it.
All right. Let's say they run the gamut on this, and them in Alabama. They play pitty-pat with the national championship for the next 4 years, and he winds up he's won 4 or 5 of these things. I mean,
I don't know. I guess
it depends. Do you not want a different challenge at some?
Well, it depends on how much you buy into what Dabo says about himself. If he's really all about him and his wins and his career and his money, then maybe you're right. But if he actually is about helping these kids out and helping them become young men, then I think college football is the place you do that.
Yeah, look, we've always said when Alabama calls, I think they'll come get Swinney.
That's over.
Now I think that's kind of over.
Why would you? Why would you give up an ACC schedule to go play in the SEC West?
Yeah.
And I know Clemson fans are going to say, "Well, blah blah." Okay, great. Yeah, the SEC didn't do great in bowl games. You can't tell me.
Who cares?
That you would rather play Mississippi State than Wake Forest. Stop with that stuff.
Yeah.
Stop.
Anyway, Clemson's national champion again. I personally My early 2021 national championship pick is going to be Clemson versus Alabama. Spoiler alert. Yeah. I think you're going to wind up.
I don't even really think
next few years.
We don't need to waste a show talking about that. We don't need to do a. And this is the greater problem in college football. When we do a college football preview show in August, we're going to have to come up with something else to talk about because nobody cares about that. And let's be honest.
We're going to make Gator Bowl picks.
Does anybody really care who the other two teams are?
I mean, I think it's fun to.
I don't.
I think it's as far as doing the show. I think it's fun to see if we can be like. I got a little bit of joy out of going. Yeah, I picked Notre Dame way back in August.
Yeah, and I got no joy out of saying I picked Auburn.
Oh man. Well, hopefully you had a little bit of joy in your life this week. BG Jake Bentley announced, hey, he's back for his senior season. I dropped my pen.
Look,
in excitement.
I'm not going to throw Bentley under the bus. I mean, he looked awful in Charlotte, but the whole team looked awful.
Did he make the right decision?
Oh yeah. He made.
You think so?
Well, I don't think he would have gotten drafted. I think he would have been at best a 5th round pick. He would have ended up like
Todd McShay had him with a day 2 grade. That's 2nd or 3rd round.
I just don't agree. That's fine. I don't think he stays on a team. I think at best right now he would have had a Phil Petty kind of reception where you hang out with the Titans, have a cup of coffee, do a summer camp, work the scout squad for a year, and then you're out of the league. I don't see it. His mechanics are still vastly in need of improvement. I don't think Jake Bentley's future is in football. He's already interning with Ray Tanner in the offseason. You tell me, man. This kid's going to be a coach. He's not going to be a professional football player for anything meaningful. And I think he knows that.
All right, but listen, are you not going to take your shot?
Oh, you're going to take your shot.
Okay. Now, do you want to go into a draft with Daniel Jones and then this group that
I see what you're saying. This is such a weak class.
That the experts are saying is the worst quarterback class that they can ever remember. Is there even one?
Which is why the Redskins are already tweeting about Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Because they know there's nobody we can go get.
So he's going to come back. Jake Bentley's going to come back next year to a fan base that has already turned on him.
Yeah, to a degree. But it's week by week. You know that.
Well, I know. But a fan base that's already not really that enamored with him. The kid Helinski just got on campus this week. Yesterday. And Gamecock fans already want this kid starting. And, oh, by the way, do we really think that there's going to be a lot of improvement? Okay, he can break some records. But is he going to be a better quarterback this time next year than he is right now?
Well,
I don't think so. And, you're going to go in the quarterback class with Tagovailoa and Jake Fromm and some other guys.
But
Herbert
you do realize
I'm getting out now while the game's good.
And I'm not trying to be funny here, but he's not you. There's a reason you and I are doing this show instead of playing quarterback even in 8th grade. Because we don't think like these guys
nobody
do.
Doing these things. That's why we're here and they're there.
But what my point is in Jake Bentley's head, he literally thinks they have a shot at playing in that national title game next year. And I don't know why he thinks that. And I haven't heard him say that. I'm not putting that on him.
Too many concussions.
I'm saying, shut up, man. I'm saying that I think every player thinks that way.
Well, every player thinks. Every player goes into the season and thinks, our goal was to win a championship.
I think
that doesn't
when
mean
he
it's
sees
realistic.
our guys in practice and he sees our guys, I think he thinks that they're a better team than we think they are. I mean, South Carolina's going to have its share of opportunities to shock the world next year for sure. Because essentially the entire top 10 of the league is coming into our stadium or we're going to theirs. Like, it's the hardest schedule I've ever seen in my life. So, I mean, I get exactly what you're saying. From a business standpoint, no, he probably didn't make a good decision. But I don't think his devotion to being an NFL player is probably as high as we think it is. I don't.
Well, and if I'm a South Carolina fan, that kind of aggravates me a little bit because if his commitment to not making himself an NFL quarterback, to me, you can bring that into question whether or not how committed is he to being the best Jake Bentley he could be.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that one guy that is really committed to Jake Bentley is Will Muschamp. I mean, You want to say it's because of Bobby Bentley, whatever. I mean, I don't understand that argument. I get why people say it because he's on staff, but who is Bobby Bentley? I mean, Bobby Bentley is not some rock star in the college coaching world anyway, maybe in high school. I think Jake's going to have some pressure on him. I personally think that Ryan Helinski's going to – I think he's going to show out in spring camp. I think you're going to see stuff out of him that you haven't seen out of a quarterback at South Carolina.
Okay, and if he
maybe ever.
All right, and if he does that, what does that do to Jake Bentley?
I don't know.
What do the fans say?
I know what the fans will say.
All right.
Because
Jake should have gotten
because
out.
you take that tough schedule and that whole narrative gets flipped around when you bring the true freshman in, right? Well, let's just see what he can do. Nobody's going to throw him under the bus for losing to Clemson, and you got to beat Kentucky. That's really the only goal next season.
Well, Benny Snell's leaving. So.
Beat Kentucky. I
think Jake missed the boat on this thing. I think he made a bad call.
I can see exactly what you're saying. I'm not saying he made the right call. I'm just explaining to you what I think is in his head, and it's pure guesswork.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to Jake in months.
Months. What about Muschamp?
I actually did talk to him once. At a Burns game.
I talked to Jerry Jones once. Beat that.
That was a very
brief.
That. This was a lengthy conversation.
This hand right here.
Let's move on to
Jerry
our next
Jones's
topic.
hand.
Let's move on to our next topic.
All right, well, let's talk about Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. BG, I told you.
You did.
I told you.
I picked them.
We are
you
here,
didn't tell
baby.
Me anything.
America's team is back. The Dallas Cowboys, one step closer to fulfilling their destiny.
You're not going to lose this week?
As an NFC champion and representative in the Super Bowl.
Are you going to lose this week?
Well, we'll make our picks.
No, just tell me. It's one pick. Just tell me.
No.
You're not.
No.
You're picking the Cowboys.
Spoiler alert, I'm picking the Cowboys this week.
You kind of ruined my spoiler alert, but whatever. Now you'll see. The fans who have ears know what I'm saying. You only listen to yourself.
Usually. BG, the Seahawks come to town. An overachieving Seahawks team, I think you could say.
Game should not have been that close. Once again, Jason Garrett, I don't know, man. That game should not have been close. Look at the stat line on this game. Russell Wilson couldn't do anything. How was this a 2-point game? How is this? What if BG's coaching the Seahawks and actually kick an onside kick at the end of the game?
I don't know.
Maybe we get the ball back.
I don't know what the deal was. I mean, how you score the touchdown, and I thought, okay, this is over. And like 45 seconds later, they're down the field. Like, I don't know how you let the guy get behind you.
That's what NFL defenses do. But let me tell you,
if Sebastian Janikowski's hamstring had not fallen off on that kick before halftime, but I don't know what the deal with the pooch kick. Punter, did you see it?
Yes, I saw it.
He just kind of
and I mean
flipped it up with his foot, and okay.
And it's hilarious that Pete Carroll's on the sideline. Yeah.
The one thing I didn't like though was when it was over with, Jason Garrett kind of took his headset off, flipped the little box on his belt. He flips it off, and he's like, he sticks his chest out. I did it.
I've won my second playoff game in 10 years.
Everyone wanted me fired, but I did it. I'm still here. I was like, God dang it, man. Are you serious? We're stuck with this guy for like another 3 years.
Man, you're gonna sign him to an extension.
There ain't no doubt about it now.
I'll tell you, though, what I noticed in go look at the stat line for all 4 of these games. All right? There's one thing that matters right now in the NFL that not everybody has, and it's not what you think I'm going to say. Everybody wants to talk about quarterback play. I'm going to tell you what I think is the emerging position that matters, and that is your running back. If you can run the football, you are a very, very difficult team to deal with in the NFL because the Seahawks could not. And the Cowboys could, that was the ball game.
The number one rushing offense in the league was held to 73 yards.
No question, man. Your defense looked amazing.
You hold the.
So you tell me how it ended up being 24-22. That game should have been a 34-14 score.
Well, look,
it just should have been.
Dallas isn't built to score. They're not built to win games 38-30.
Well,
to win
those
shootouts.
You need to win it by 7 then, because that was too close for comfort.
Well, listen,
One bad play could have cost you that football game.
Well, again, if they could, if they had a kicker capable of executing an onside kick, we might be having a different discussion.
I'm just telling you, I'm backing you up. I'm telling you that Garrett, even when your players are dominating, the game comes down to the last play. There's no excuse for that.
Well, look,
none.
In my opinion, we've got the best running back in football. What this game was...
I don't even know that that's your opinion. I think the stats bear that out, at least for this season.
Well, I mean, you can make the case for Tide Gurley. You can make the case for a few other guys. But for me, I'm not trading Elliott for any of them. That's the dude. To me, this game was more of a referendum on Dak Prescott. Because we've seen Seattle. They've had turnovers on that Legion of Boom defense. They're still really good, man. Bobby Wagner is still one of the best linebackers in football. This was, to me, a referendum on Dak Prescott, whether or not he could win these kind of games.
Sure.
And it seemed like every time we got into a tight spot Saturday night, it was Dak Prescott making the big play. It was Prescott with a run. It was Prescott evading some pressure. It was Prescott diving over head first down to the goal line. Any Cowboys fans, I said it weeks ago, reiterate it right now. Any Cowboys fan who wants to move on from that guy, you are a fool. Dak Prescott has it, man. Dak Prescott has it.
Obviously,
adding Amari Cooper was a game changer.
On a very different level. I'm not comparing them one-to-one, but he reminds me a lot of Connor Shaw. Hey, there's nothing you can really point your finger at. Like, there's not one pass where you're like, my God, look at that throw. It's just the total package and just the bulldog in him. Like, he just will not stop trying to win games.
No.
And I love that about him.
No,
Yeah, it's great
like I said, the trade
he does a great charming soup commercial, too.
Well, yeah, man can eat soup and throw footballs at the same time.
I mean, because he can't stop training.
Nobody else does that.
Nobody.
Certainly not Josh Johnson.
Well, our quarterback can't do it because he can't stand up right now.
Which one?
Right. Quarterback number 4 can stand up, but he can't throw a football, so that's a problem.
Quarterback number 3 couldn't throw either, so it doesn't really matter. All right, BG, let's make some picks, man. We got 4 games on the slate. Last week,
Where are we at on time right now?
We got plenty of time.
Okay.
Last week, a half a point and 2 different ball games is the difference in me putting you away for good and you letting you hang around. You go 5-5. Another bad week, man. I just can't seem to get ahead. I got 3-7 last week.
Bowl games are tough picks.
They are.
And then NFL games are notoriously hard. And again,
well, see, I had 3 of the winners right, but
just to remind everybody,
I had the Cowboys and I gave up the 2.5, and they won by 2.
We
I
are
got
picking against the spread. It's a whole different ball of wax.
Saturday afternoon, the Colts, man, they absolutely ran the Texans out of their own building.
Are the Colts the quietest good team in football?
Well, listen,
we haven't talked about them all year.
Listen, Sunday morning, I'm listening to the talking heads, and they're all going, man, I'm not sure Indianapolis isn't the most complete team left in the playoffs. I mean, they were all in on Indianapolis.
They have a nasty offensive line. I went back and watched some highlights.
Like, when did that happen?
Right, because when it was 2 years ago, we were saying they can't protect Andrew
When
Luck.
did that
He can't
happen?
even stand up anymore. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, they did a couple of free agent trades, 1 draft. But I guess 3 really good offensive linemen can change your 5-person
they
offensive
drafted
line.
well. I think they've got 2 rookies on the All-Pro team.
Yeah.
I think one's right here from this state. I think Darius Leonard went to South Carolina State, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's leading the league in tackles.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
But they are going to Kansas City. The Chiefs, they have been the league's darlings. They will give up 5.5 to Indianapolis.
I'll tell you what.
Where are you going?
No, I'm going with the Colts. Man,
To win or just to cover?
outright win.
Outright win over the Chiefs.
Absolutely. The Chiefs, Andy Reid in Arrowhead, please. In the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Now, the Colts are dangerous, man. I think the Chiefs lay an egg in this one. I really do.
That's been who the Chiefs are, right?
Yeah.
And basically, my whole entire life, I know they went to 1 Super Bowl.
I'm telling
Super
you,
Bowl
people
3,
laugh about the NFL because
1.
all the players change, but that history stuff, it doesn't make sense that it matters, but it matters. Look at the Panthers this year. That ridiculous stat. I'm telling you, man.
Look,
they were going to win 11 games until history was like, whoa!
Whoa.
Do that.
You did that last year, man.
Yeah,
Stop
you
it.
can't
Stop
do
it.
that.
Oh, man. I want to say the Chiefs, man. I don't know why I think the Chiefs win it. I think they finally get over that hump. Part of having these guys who have never done it before
Well,
is
you're right. No,
they don't have that scar tissue built up. They don't have that reel of failures in the back of their mind when things start going sideways. I think that's Pat Mahomes. Now, I'm worried about this defense because history tells you a defense that bad does not win the Super Bowl, and the defense is bad.
And what I'm saying is,
But I think
forget the records.
Give me the Chiefs. To win by a touchdown in a shootout.
Forget the records because you can't look at Indianapolis' record. That is obviously not who they are. Let's just take the last 2 games, the window we're in right now. Who's the better football team here? I don't know, man. I'm riding the Colts on this.
7-1 to close out the season.
Yes,
that's tough. On the other side of the AFC, the LA Chargers. I said it right. I made it a point to say it right because nobody
can
on
do
TV says it right.
I think they really still are the San Diego Chargers. They just play in Los Angeles.
They just bust them up to bust them down in Los Angeles. Yeah. But the Chargers going to New England. The Patriots giving up 4. This is Tom Brady and the Patriots have always been Phillip Rivers. You're the comic book. What's the thing with Superman? Kryptonite. They've always been Phillip Rivers.
I knew that. I didn't really realize what you were asking me because it was a pretty vague question.
Well,
and I wasn't listening to you. I was staring at that power outlet.
It's a pretty gnarly looking power outlet. Pretty high. Like who's plugging anything?
I don't know.
Right
it's 4 feet off the ground.
4, man. About 6. Anyway, Patriots giving up 4 points. The Chargers 12-4. It's not often you see a 12-4 wild card team. I think the Chargers go up to New England, and I think they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. Give me the L.A. Chargers to take on the Chiefs. And if we get a game half as good as we got a couple weeks ago when these two squared off in Kansas City, we'll all be better for it.
I think you know what I'm going to do on this one.
The Bears?
No, the Bears lost, man. They're not playing in this game. I'm going to go with the Chargers as well. I think... I'm not sure what goes on in New England this offseason. I don't know if they win this week or not. I would pretty much bet my mortgage right now they don't win a Super Bowl this year. And I think we've already said this, but they're not going to win another one. I don't know if Brady comes back. I think he probably does.
No, I think he'll be back.
I think if he does, they're, 12-4 next year. I think that's who they are right now. That's as good as it's going to get.
I think 2 things. One, I think you have to be careful just riding the Patriots and Tom Brady off.
Saying they're 12-4 next year isn't riding them off.
But what I'm saying about how they're not going to, they're done with some. Yeah, this was looked at as a down year for New England, right? Everybody's, all right, they're not as good as the Chiefs. They're not as good as the Saints. All right, they're still Rob Gronkowski playing safety and making a tackle away from being the number 1 seed in the AFC and hosting an AFC championship game.
You're right.
If they made it that far.
Some of it is because their division is pathetic.
If that's a down year, sign me up every year.
I'm just telling you,
everybody. I think we're a little too quick now. I'm just making a pick here. This is what I think. I think that eventually somebody's going to get over on them. I think it's this week, but it's not going to shock me. If 2 weeks from now we're talking about New England back in another Super Bowl.
That would actually shock me. Yeah. I just don't. I don't see it. I think it's like, you remember the old game Tetris?
Yes, my wife has never played Tetris. I don't know how, but she's never played Tetris.
We need to talk about that sometime. But Tetris, I think I've used this analogy with you before off the show, but you can play it and you can be good at it. Mm-hmm. You know what's going to happen? You're going to lose.
Yeah, because those things are just going to start falling at a rapid pace and you can't do anything.
That, to me, is how New England feels right now. Like Tom Brady's age, it may not be as much of a factor as it should be, but it is a factor. Yeah,
I agree.
The people that they've lost because of injury this year, their lack of consistency at running back, all of these things continue to stack up, and eventually all of them are going to hit bottom. And I think it is going to be exactly like it is in Tetris. And right now, what I think is they've got that screen half full, man, and they're still...
And they're just going to start dropping. Doom, doom, doom,
they're
doom,
clicking,
doom.
but it's speeding up because there's less distance between the bottom and the middle. So I just think things are piling up on New England, and I think you've seen evidence of it all year.
Oh, no, like I said, I agree. It just wouldn't shock me if they were still there. In the NFC side, the Eagles, man, is there a luckier team today than the Philadelphia Eagles? They are going to New Orleans, the biggest number on the board in the four playoff games. Saints minus 8.5. They steamrolled Philadelphia earlier this year. This is a different Eagles team.
It is a different Eagles team, and part of me is really afraid of them. If I was New Orleans, I would be very wary of this game. But I'm going to go against my riskier nature and take the Saints in a close win.
So you giving up the 8.5? Or are you taking
I thought
Eagles?
It was 7. It's 8.
Well, it was 8.5 when I made the list.
Okay, well, we'll go with 8.5. In that case, I'm going to take the Eagles because I think this is more like a 3-point win.
I got you down for the Saints. I'm going to disagree and take the Eagles. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I think everyone knows. I mean, I know what you do.
What do I do?
You manipulate things so that you win every year. What? I mean,
are you accusing me on the air of cheating?
You just did it on the air.
You're accusing me on the air of collusion. There's no collusion.
You said it out loud.
The Russians have not infiltrated this notepad.
All I'm saying is that you said the opposite of what I said, and you're writing stuff down. I don't know what you're writing down.
The Russians have not infiltrated this notepad. Listen, this Philadelphia Eagles team, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
Well, they're good.
They're good.
They won a Super Bowl last year. They have talent.
I believe in Foles' magic, man. He's done it, and he keeps doing it. They have the horseshoe. I'm going to ride the horseshoe till it drops out of their backside. Now, I'll take Philadelphia.
Who wins this game?
I kind of agree with you. I want to say the Saints. That's a big number. Philadelphia just finds a way to kind of get things done right now.
You feel like the Saints are going to lose, though? Because they're not going to win a Super Bowl in their own stadium. People don't do that.
It's not in their stadium.
It's not? Where is it?
It's in Atlanta. It's in the other. It's in the other Mercedes-Benz dome.
That's why I got confused. Okay.
But I think the Saints are Super Bowl good, and that's not a hot take.
No, it's down.
But I think Philadelphia is playing well enough right now that they're going to give the Saints problems. And so I'll take Philadelphia, and I'll give the points. But I'm like you. I think the Saints win a close one. Finally, Saturday night, I've given you my pick already. Two of the league's best rushing offenses. Can the Cowboys do it again on defense? I think they can, man. I think the Cowboys win this one. A score pretty close to what you saw last week, somewhere around 23-20 over the Rams.
You mean to tell you what the factor in this game is going to be? Is that the LA Rams don't actually have any fans. There are going to be 60,000.
There's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans there, man.
And I think that's really a huge factor in this game. I think Dallas wins. I thought I was going to surprise you with that, man. Thought you were going to go with the Rams and I would go with the Cowboys, and it would be kind of weird.
No way, Jose. Hey, listen, I see it now. It's fine. You're picking the Cowboys. You're starting to come around. You're wearing a dark blue and gray shirt.
This is my new Tuesday shirt.
You can call it your Tuesday shirt if you want.
If anything, this is a Titans shirt. This is not Dallas.
I think I'm going to take it as you just coming around and embracing your roots, and I'm very glad and happy to be a part of this.
Go Heels.
Hey,
why not?
Why not?
What? I don't care.
Come on. As long as you're not cheering for Duke, we can continue the show.
I'll tell you what, I was cheering for him the other night. I enjoyed the mess out of that.
Who?
No, against Clemson, man. I mean, that was just a lot of fun.
As I say, I didn't even watch it. So, someone asked me just before we came in here, did I watch Zion? I'm like, no.
I think it's hilarious that anyone thinks that 360 dunk was anything other than just pure out disrespect. I don't know why. I just love the spin on that.
All right, that's it for episode 91. Again, congrats to the Clemson Tigers on their national title.
No, absolutely. If I didn't say it plainly enough, let me say it. Congratulations,
Congrats.
Clemson. You absolutely deserve it. You have the best football program in the United States.
Ever. You're
today.
the greatest. I don't know
I
what
didn't
to
say
tell
that.
you.
I
Yes,
didn't
you
say
did.
that.
You said it off air. I heard you.
Oh, boy.
You're going back to being a Cowboys fan and a
Nah,
Clemson
it's
fan.
been a long time since we talked about ghost peppers at all.
Embracing your roots.